The story of India and Pakistan's decades-long conflict is one steeped in history, politics, and the unsettling reality of two nations forever tied by their shared past. From the very beginning, their destinies were intertwined in a struggle that would shape not only their own futures but the larger global stage. It all started back in 1947 when the British left the Indian subcontinent, dividing it into two separate nations, India and Pakistan. The partition, as it was called, was a tragic event, with millions of lives lost, displaced, and irrevocably altered. As the two countries emerged from the wreckage of British colonial rule, there was an undeniable tension in the air, fueled by religious, political, and cultural divisions. But the wounds went deeper than that. These two nations were not just separated by borders but by decades of mistrust, and, as history would prove, that mistrust would only grow stronger. The first full-scale war broke out in 1947, right after partition, when Pakistan and India clashed over the Kashmir region. It was a war that would set the stage for future confrontations, with both countries claiming Kashmir as their own. The line of control was drawn, but the peace was fragile, temporary. Years later, in 1965, the two nations fought again, this time with no clear victor, though both sides claimed their share of success. The war ended in a stalemate, but the anger and distrust simmered below the surface, brewing for another confrontation in 1971. The 1971 war, a pivotal moment in the conflict, saw the birth of Bangladesh, which was once East Pakistan. The war was devastating, and Pakistan suffered a significant defeat, losing East Pakistan to India's support for Bengali independence. This marked a dramatic shift in the power dynamics in South Asia. India emerged as a more confident player on the world stage, while Pakistan grappled with the fallout, both politically and militarily. The scars of this war would define the two countries' relationship for years to come. Through it all, the United States played a complex and often contradictory role. During the Cold War, the US saw Pakistan as a key ally in the fight against Soviet expansion. The US provided military aid and support to Pakistan, especially during the 1950s and 1960s. But when it came to the 1971 war, the US found itself in a difficult position, having to balance its relations with India, which was moving closer to the Soviet Union, and Pakistan, its Cold War ally. The US support for Pakistan during that time, particularly during the 1971 conflict, has been criticized for turning a blind eye to the human rights violations in East Pakistan, which later became Bangladesh. But America's role didn't end there. As the decades rolled on, the US became deeply involved in South Asia, particularly in its dealings with Pakistan. During the 1980s, the US provided substantial aid to Pakistan, using it as a conduit for supplying arms to Afghan rebels fighting the Soviet Union. However, after the Soviet withdrawal in 1989, the relationship between the US and Pakistan began to cool. In the 1990s, the US imposed sanctions on Pakistan following its nuclear tests, but by the early 2000s, the war on terror brought the US and Pakistan back together. After the 9/11 attacks, Pakistan became a crucial ally in the fight against terrorism, particularly in Afghanistan. But the alliance remained uneasy, with Pakistan's own internal issues, such as its military's influence and its continued support for certain militant groups, often clashing with American objectives. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has shifted once more. The world is no longer in the grips of the Cold War, but the India-Pakistan rivalry remains as intense as ever. Today, both countries are nuclear-armed, and the stakes have never been higher. The current governments of Narendra Modi in India and Imran Khan in Pakistan have their own agendas, shaped by their domestic political environments and their international aspirations. Modi's government, with its strong Hindu nationalist ideology, has taken a harder stance on Pakistan, particularly regarding Kashmir, which has been at the heart of the conflict since the very beginning. Modi's administration has been marked by an aggressive policy towards Pakistan, including the controversial revocation of Article 370, which gave Kashmir special autonomy. This move angered Pakistan and escalated tensions in the region. On the other hand, Imran Khan, despite his reputation as a cricket hero and a man of peace, has found himself trapped in a web of internal political challenges and the complex geopolitical situation surrounding Pakistan's relationship with both India and the US. Khan's government has struggled with managing Pakistan's economy, the military's overwhelming influence, and rising tensions with its eastern neighbor. While Khan has called for peace and dialogue, the relationship between the two countries remains strained, and the risk of conflict is ever present. Today, America's role is less direct, but it still holds influence. The US has called for peace between India and Pakistan on numerous occasions, but its involvement is often seen as limited by its interests in maintaining strong ties with both nations. The US continues to support India's rise as a global power, especially as a counterbalance to China, while simultaneously working to stabilize Pakistan, which remains a key player in the region. However, America's influence over both countries has waned, and both nations have taken more independent paths in managing their own security concerns. As the two countries continue to navigate this fraught relationship, the world watches closely. There's no denying that the India-Pakistan conflict is one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the world. The tensions have been managed, and wars have been fought, but the peace remains elusive. Both nations have made their own choices that continue to impact their futures and the broader region. The question remains, can the leaders of today find a path to peace, or are they doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past? The world hopes for peace, but the past, filled with wars and foreign intervention, casts a long shadow over the future of India and Pakistan. Whether they will find a way to coexist peacefully or whether history will repeat itself remains to be seen. The story of India and Pakistan is one of immense complexity, shaped by history, politics, and the fragile human desire for peace. Only time will tell what the next chapter holds for these two nuclear-armed nations.